The British tech tree has grown one ship stronger, with Minotaur's little brother coming into Tier 8. The Neptune reminds me a lot of playing Fiji in the good old days, grinding up the British tech tree line, making it to the Fiji and thinking, man, what is this power? This is a fun ship. And I do say Fiji, not the Edinburgh, just one tier lower, because of the armor scheme. Edinburgh is just a weird ship. Somewhere along the way, one of the Legends games designers or someone on the dev team said, hey, what happens when we give a cruiser battleship plating? And that's the Edinburgh. No, Neptune is not like that. It's armored like the Fiji or the Minotaur, so stealth, fighting from cover, and smoke screens are her best friend. In a recent video, I ranked all of the tech tree ships, cruisers, DDs, battleships, and the British light cruiser line was ranked as the most fun cruisers in the game and the most powerful tech tree cruisers in the game. So I think the Neptune is going to fit right in this category and cap off the tech tree tiers. We are currently playing on Trap. We spawned on A side for once. We have a Bismarck with us, backing us up, and a Megami, I believe. There's only one DD in the entire match, and I'm currently not playing with radar, although I will probably in the future. But for now, when you're grinding a base tier 8 ship, boy, does it suck. But you're at a major disadvantage, and we need all the help we can get to survive. So we're going to play with smoke for now. I tried to get up close to the cap so that we could help our teammates out, and we're also playing just far enough back so that I can't get radared by the B-43 on the enemy team. That is a really tragic way to get taken out of a match. You set up with smoke, and then a Kronstadt or something pushes up, radars you from 11.7 kilometers, and you get blippity-blapped. So be careful of that. I tried to position myself in a way that I could get some broadside shots. These ships can really become pretty useless when you get stuck fighting bow end tanking opponents. In a recent game on Warrior's Path, without really any other options, I was stuck fighting bow end targets, and around mid-game I looked up to see 150 shell hits, 24,000 damage. So if you don't find broadsides, this can quickly become a pretty useless ship for your team. Although we do get decent damage here on this mines, just for a couple shots, but FDG is the bigger threat, so we need to focus it. Currently, my ship setup is using Aiming Systems Mod 1, Rudder, Concealment, and Gunfire Control System. I don't say that one very often. I'll explain why here in a second. My commander is Bruce Fraser, with a focus on DPM, of course. Piercer, Home Run, Punch Through, etc. The usual Brit light cruiser build. We're using Mikawa and Muller. I guess you could do an agile build, and it could work. I didn't actually play a game with it, although I set the build up and looked, and you could get down to a 2-second rudder if you wanted, still have decent top speed at 36, 37. The reason I didn't, though, is because when I play Edinburgh and my Minotaur, I play them both agile most of the time. And when it comes to agility, both of those ships are actually better than the Neptune with base stats. Let's take a look and see why. Now, Eden is the slowest of the three by 1 knot. That is true. However, Neptune has the worst turn circle of the three by 40 meters, has the worst rudder shift, being a full 2 seconds slower than Edinburgh, and it has the worst concealment, being nearly a full kilometer easier to detect than the Minotaur. So really, it's just meh when you compare it to playing the tier 7 and the legendary tier ships of the same class. The worst concealment means you're going to be easier to detect in open water without buffing it using the concealment mod or mikawa, and again, that takes away from your agility. So, for me, Neptune is going to be more of a stealth cruiser, fighting from cover, fighting from smoke, blah blah blah. And then when I want to go play agile cruisers, the Edinburgh at tier 7 with its battleship armor, and then the Minotaur with its stupid agility and concealment. They're just better at it than Neptune. But I would of course urge you to try both out, see what you like. So this game, FDG didn't survive the push, and now B-43 and mines over here are in some trouble. I know the Moss has been spotted over on B cap, and he's probably what's spotting me right now, so he's in the back of my mind, but I want to go ahead and get A before I worry about him. Usually, I wouldn't want to leave enemy ships on the flank, but I have faith in my Bismarck over here and the IJN cruiser that they can get these guys. So after ACAP, we're heading for the Moss. And B-43's kiting away, so we don't really want to waste our time chasing him. Let's check out some of the stats as this game's going on here and see how she compares to the other Tier 8 cruisers. And the tier continues to grow. There are now 8 cruisers at Tier 8, counting the Ibuki B. Health-wise, Neptune is doing just fine. With almost 45k, she's pretty average, until we add in her heals, and then she's fantastic. They are amazing heals, of course, kind of like the Minotaur. Actually, as I have it figured, they're just a little bit better than Minotaur in the sense that you get a little more health. But adding those in, your effective HP pool is insane. Over 80,000, meaning if you survive whatever you encounter, you can heal most of the damage back, including critical damage such as Citadel damage. Now, I don't remember how much it is. I think with the Minotaur, it's like 50%. I would assume Neptune is about the same because I've been slapped and able to heal back a lot of that critical damage. The armor is, of course, basically perfect for getting blapped. Along with the Minotaur, this is going to be a fan favorite to shoot at because it just explodes. It just simply explodes. You do have a 102mm belt, but anyone who really knows what they're doing won't shoot belt. They're just going to aim a little bit higher and take you to Pound Town. The Citadel is stepped, and really for me, it just makes the ship an absolute Citadel trap. So be very, very careful. On to the guns, and you could think of it kind of like Fiji started hitting the gym, because a base 5-second reload really gives you some pretty impressive damage output. Of course, it is British short-fused armor piercing, and it has improved pin angles, so its performance is usually pretty good unless an enemy is angled well or a more heavily armored ship stays bow in. Now, the Lion pulled back forward here, and I am quite lucky to be alive, but you can see this heal in action, and we're getting to repair quite a bit of that damage back. But again, very, very lucky to be alive. I was hoping he wouldn't get the reload off before I made it to past this island, but he did, so we angled out and smoked up. Sometimes I forget, you know, American battleships, they probably have a 30-second reload because they have artillery plotting room in slot 4, but the Lion doesn't have that, so she probably has MBM 3 in slot 4, so 26.4 base reload. She just reloads faster, is what I'm saying. So I'm lucky to be alive. Sometimes being spotted by a battleship for even seconds is long enough to die. Ask me how I know. Now, a 5-second base reload. The reason I chose the range module is, for one, the ship isn't fully upgraded, so I feel like she needs that range, and MBM3 turned 5 seconds into maybe 4.4 seconds, so yes, it's a lot, and it's going to bump up the DPM a lot, but for now, while I don't have the ship fully upgraded, the range module actually helps a lot in slot 4. Regardless of what you put on here, though, the AP DPM is going to be the best at Tier 8 out of the cruisers by far. These are some stock DPM numbers we're showing up on the screen here, and so this ship just has an ability to throw out a ton of damage, and it's really fun when you get into a position that you can just start, you know, bombing on people. Kind of like this Brit battleship as we get our revenge. Moving on, the torpedoes are a big strong suit of the ship. Like the Minotaur, you get access to 8 on each side. They don't quite have the great range of the Minotaur, 16 kilometers, but 10 km stock is good. And they hit pretty hard, almost 17k. 62 knots is okay, but basically just keep throwing them down at pushing ships and you'll be pleasantly surprised sometimes. I don't know that we get any torp hits in this game, but I would say 3 out of 4 games that I had played in this ship, just throwing torps out whenever they are available, led me to some pretty good damage. Neptune's AA suite is actually quite good. 6 km base range, that is awesome. Most enemy carriers are going to want to avoid you. You have a 366 stock DPS, that's the best in class, but throw the whole upgrade on there and it gets boosted to 532, so it's no slouch at all. I think if you put a perk or 2 into AA, it could be very, very potent, although right now, legendary tier carriers are almost non-existent, so I wouldn't worry about it a whole lot. The 33.5 speed is average, like we mentioned, and the turning circle and rudder, they were pretty average as well. Finally, she does get beat by the Minotuar on Concealment, but for tier 8 cruisers, it's the best we have, so we can't complain a whole lot there. And let's check back in on the match as it's kind of wrapping up here. The Kronstadt. We're going to yoink this one. Hey, it happens. Sometimes you yoink, sometimes you get yoinked. It's part of the game. We're going to try to lob over this island here and damage the Massachusetts a little bit more, but being spotted by the B-43 is kind of a dangerous proposition. I probably should have went ahead and smoked up. I was just trying to save my last smoke screen. I didn't know how competitive the rest of this match was going to be, and we're going to finally hopefully get B-cap. Decent amount of damage this game with the Confederate, nothing too impressive. I think this ship has the potential to do some insane damage, kind of like the Minotaur, which the Minotaur record is some 360,000 damage. The Neptune can definitely put up some big numbers. While it doesn't have that damage output, it's close, you know, it's very, very strong. Overall, if you are looking to continue up the Royal Navy cruiser line, I think that you're not going to be disappointed by the Neptune. It's exactly what you would expect. And if you were good at the other ships in the line, you should expect some good results out of the old Neptune here. As for the other tier 8 cruisers, the Donskoi still might take the cake as being the best overall, but the Neptune's gotta be up there. It's really strong, and of course the Buffalo is good. But really, this is a contender for one of the better tier 8 tech tree cruisers. So again, I don't think you'll be disappointed for grinding your way up this one. Anyways, if you guys would do me a favor as the end of this video comes about, hit the like button. That would help me out a lot to maybe get this video out there for other people who are interested in the British tech tree line and the Neptune. Also, be sure to subscribe for future videos so that you don't miss any other content. If you have made your way into some of the other tier 8 tech tree ships, I would like to hear your opinion. I'm really curious about the St. Louis. I've heard some not so flattering things about her, but yeah, I'm curious what you guys think about her. And if you were playing the Neptune, of course, let me know what you guys think. I have not been very incentivized to play tier 8 really with legendary tier, having all of those ships already. What's my purpose in playing tier 8? You know, it's a lot of grinding. It's a lot of not so much fun. Anyways, catch you guys in the next video. See ya.